So you want to know why Emeryville, California has become one of the most popular places in the East Bay to live, especially for young professionals? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, so let's get to it. Welcome to the Living in Oakland, California channel. I'm Rich Fleming, your local realtor, and I am here to teach you everything you need to know about living, working, playing, sleeping, eating, whatever, in Oakland and the rest of the San Francisco East Bay. I get a lot of people who reach out to me with questions about what it's like to live here, how to transition here, what they need to know before they get here, and I absolutely love it. That is why I do these videos, to help you guys out. So if you have questions, you know what to do. Drop me a text, send me an email, give me a call, whatever works for you. Because when it comes to helping you transition to Oakland and the rest of the San Francisco East Bay, I got your back. So I am in Emeryville, California, and behind me is the San Francisco Bay. And as I pan around here, you can see San Francisco in the background and the San Francisco Bay Bridge, which takes people from the East Bay directly into San Francisco. And that really summarizes why the popularity of Emeryville has boomed over the last 10 to 20 years. It's a story of geography, as it often is. The location of Emeryville, so close to San Francisco, so close to the San Francisco Bay Bridge, has caused this city to completely transition from a city of light industrial and warehouses 20 to 25 years ago to a city of office buildings, retail, and tons of condominiums and townhouses. It is the story of that access to San Francisco. So as I always do in these videos, let's start with the demographic basics about Emeryville. So Emeryville is not a very big city. It is located in between Oakland and Berkeley, right along the Highway 80 corridor. And it is only about 1.25 miles square as far as area is concerned, and has a population of about 12,000 people. But it is really its location that has made Emeryville one of the top places for people to live in the East Bay over the last 10 to 15 years. So if you look at a map, you will see that Emeryville, as I mentioned, is nestled in between Berkeley and Oakland. But the key thing is that it is at the intersection of 3 major highways that take you into San Francisco across the San Francisco Bay Bridge. So highways 80, 580/880, and highways 24 essentially all merge in or near Emeryville. And this is the key point, the key funnel point to take the San Francisco Bay Bridge across the bay to get into San Francisco. And that is why Emeryville's popularity has grown. It is purely a story of location. So as I mentioned earlier, Emeryville is not a very big city. It is only about 1.25 square miles, and it is kind of wedged in between Berkeley and Oakland. And it was incorporated in 1896, and the primary reason for its incorporation at the time was to prevent Oakland from absorbing that area into its city boundaries. The Emeryville business leaders at that time just did not want to become part of Oakland. Throughout most of the history of Emeryville, it has been known way more for its industrial and warehouse base and its racetracks and bordellos in the late 19th century and early 20th century than it is been known for its condominiums and dining opportunities. That is a more recent development in Emeryville in the last 20 years or so. So as far as the weather is concerned, Emeryville tends to be a little bit cooler and windier than Oakland. And the reason for that is Emeryville is literally right on the bay. So you get those bay breezes, you get the coolness brought in from the bay that you don't get quite as much in most of Oakland. Very temperate most of the time. You rarely get extremely hot days and you rarely get extremely cold days in Emeryville. So Emeryville is essentially divided into 3 basic areas now. One is the northwest side of Emeryville, which is really heavily concentrated with high-end condominiums and townhomes. The second part is the northeast area, which still has some light industrial warehouses and a mix of townhomes and condos. And then the southern end of the city, which is really more moderately priced homes, apartments, and retail. So let's talk about these three areas in Emeryville a little bit more. We'll start with the northwest side of Emeryville. So in this area, as I mentioned, it is highly concentrated in high-end apartments, condos, and townhomes. This area also has the essentially business space, the office space of Emeryville in it. There are probably about 3 or 4 very large office buildings in this part of Emeryville. You also have the Emeryville Marina in this area, and it is really the only large park space in Emeryville. So let's talk about the northeast part of Emeryville. Now this section of Emeryville is really a mix of condos and townhomes, light industrial, office spaces, and retail and restaurants. So you have in this area a little bit of everything, and it is kind of the commerce core of the city. And IKEA is located in this part of Emeryville, and it is the only IKEA located in the San Francisco East Bay, for people probably within 100 miles of the area. So the southern part of Emeryville borders on Oakland and is probably the least developed part of the city. You don't have the same level of retail, business development, housing development that you have seen in some of the other parts of the city, but it is increasing even in this part of the city just due to the demand for housing in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. It does have excellent access to both Berkeley and Oakland relative to the other parts of Emeryville. So as far as housing is concerned, Emeryville is heavily dominated by condos and townhomes. Single-family homes aren't nearly as big of the housing stock as it is in many other cities in the San Francisco East Bay. As far as what you can expect to pay, well, for a studio condominium in Emeryville, you might be able to find one from about $350,000 to $400,000. But those will have homeowners associations of anywhere from $400 to $500 per month. If you're talking a larger condominium in a highly desired area, you can get 2 or 3 bedroom condos in some of the most desired buildings that will go upwards of $1 million in Emeryville. As far as renting goes, depending on what part of the city you're in, a 1 bedroom will run you anywhere from about $2,300 per month, upwards of $4,000 per month. But once again, it just depends on what part of the city you're in and what amenities that building happens to offer. Now, even though Emeryville is a small city, only 12,000 people or so, as I mentioned earlier, it does have its own school district, the Emeryville Unified School District. The district has less than 800 students, and it has 2 schools located on the same campus. Now, throughout the last 20 years or so, the district has had its challenges. In the late 2000s, the state actually took over the school district, and it did not regain control over its own affairs until about 2011. Now, since then, the district has definitely made strides and improvements, but there is still room for improvement. The thing about Emeryville is that it is not designed as a family-oriented city. It is heavily influenced by condos and townhomes, which tends to attract either young professionals or retirees, not necessarily families. And that's been one of the biggest challenges for Emeryville's school district. It doesn't have a very large base of students to maintain itself with. So as far as accessibility is concerned, Emeryville has great freeway access, and that's just due to its geography. But the other aspect of that is that the freeways are often quite congested because they all meet in Emeryville to give people access to the Bay Bridge to go to San Francisco. Now, as far as public transportation is concerned, Emeryville does not have a BART station in it, and it doesn't have the best bus service in the world. However, there is a service called the Emery Go, which will take people from different parts of Emeryville and drop them off at the MacArthur BART station in Oakland. that is probably one of the best ways to take public transportation to get into San Francisco. So who's going to be best suited to live in Emeryville? Well, in my opinion, it is really young individuals and couples and empty nesters, retirees. Emeryville is a great city if you want the condominium townhome lifestyle. You don't have a property to maintain, and you still want to have great access to urban centers. That is what Emeryville offers. But if you're a young family and you're concerned about outdoor space, activities for the kids, a large school district with a lot of services, Emeryville is not necessarily the best place for you. So you really just have to take a look at Emeryville and see what fits your lifestyle the best. But as far as access to San Francisco and location, Emeryville is a great place to be. So that's really a summary of what it's like to live in Emeryville, California. So if you have any questions about anything I covered in today's video, you know what to do. Drop me a text, give me a call, send me an email, whatever works for you. Because when it comes to helping you relocate to Oakland and the rest of the San Francisco East Bay, that's what I'm here for. I got your back. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that thumbs up button so YouTube knows to show it to other people that have interests similar to you. Hit the subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you know each and every time I drop a new video, and I'll catch you in the next video.